Hey guys, my name's Johann and welcome to The Blueprint. And every week we're going to be dropping new episodes that's going to provide you with value in terms of knowledge, learning, experience, and over the next several weeks as well, I'm going to be interviewing a lot of successful people. And hopefully together collectively, we can gain knowledge and implement it into our lives. So welcome to The Blueprint, my friends. And if you're watching this on YouTube, guys, please like, subscribe, and share this content with some family and friends. And if you're hearing this on Spotify as well, keep downloading each episode. The data has been amazing, and without your support, this channel wouldn't grow. So today, guys, I really want to harness and focus on the power of being laser focused when you're working towards a goal. And when I share with you some stories and experiences, it's also going to sound quite contradicting. Because yes, I'm quite laser focused on one goal at a time, but I'm also at a stage where I could, diversify my businesses and experiences to other sectors and other opportunities. But I believe before you go out and seek new opportunities, you must have one goal and one mission completed first before you move to the next thing. And the reason why I really wanted to talk to you about this today, because I had a few people reach out during the week. And he said, hey, Johann, how do you remain so disciplined with your training? Hey, Johann, how do you don't get distracted when you're working on your goals? And I thought, this is a pretty good question. So the reality is, I believe it's never been easy to be distracted. You've got a lot of things on social media, various platforms, and every time you put these platforms on, there are new opportunities being presented to you. There's a lot of get-rich-quick schemes. There are a lot of business opportunities out there as well. But the issue is, if you don't build momentum in your current objective, you're never going to be able to do anything else. And what people do, right, is they'll work on something for 2 or 3 months, they'll get bored or they don't see success, and then they move on to the next thing. After 2 or 3 months again, they move on to the next thing. But in order to be super focused and super successful, one must have long-term vision. One must have strong habits and discipline. And the third and final component to being super focused is to realize that if you follow the sheep that follow instant gratification that want quick success, you're never going to be successful. And the reason why I can guarantee you this is I was one of those sheep where in my 20s to early 30s, I used to always have these new ideas and new concepts, and I kept changing from one thing to another. And yes, I was gratefully, successful in terms of career and income. But had I been more focused and more driven, I would have been far more successful than where I am today. So just to give you perspective, in the last 3 years, I've developed the technique of delayed gratification. And the way I've developed delayed gratification technique is by doing 2 things. Number 1 is by being present. And number 2 is by understanding, by looking at my past, I have been able to see what has not worked for me. And what I've done is created new strategies in my life to not be focused on gratification. So to give you an example and a much more simple explanation is I've been training for 3 years straight. And now my body's developed where I'm quite athletic. I'm feeling very energetic. But the first day or 2 or month or 6 months, I really didn't see any changes within the appearance of my body. And I started to definitely feel increments of change on an energy level. And at times, admittedly, I felt like quitting. But I said to myself, what if I just keep holding on for one more day? And 3 years later, I saw a transformation in my body. I saw a transformation within my mindset. My income propelled. My businesses have taken off as well. And what I'm chasing financially in terms of the wealth creation space has also taken off as well. Because I believe when you become laser focused and not distracted by shiny new things, you're going to prove to yourself that you can achieve anything in your life. And even now that I'm super focused, when I'm doing new business ventures or looking at new opportunities as my businesses have grown, The first thing I look at when I seek a new business partner is I look at how they look at the world. Are they focused, or are they drifting from one thing to another? If someone is super drifting, where they jump from one thing to another, I don't really want to do business with them at all, because my principles are, if you're seeking instant gratification, then things are not going to work out. So I don't want to associate with a person like that. So now that I've told you the benefits of being laser focused, that if you can be laser focused, your income will jump, you'll look good, and etc. The question is how do you become laser focused? And this is apart from having a cool morning routine. I think that if you want to have a mindset where you become laser focused, there are 3 little things you want to instill within your mindset. And these are this. Number 1, your why when you're doing a goal or a business venture has to be bigger than yourself. So a lot of people will have goals like, I want to make $1 million. And what happens with that little goal is that as soon as you run through a problem or a challenge, you'll quit straight away because your why is not big enough, because your why is only attached to a financial number. But if you said to me, Johann, what is your why when you're doing all these things? My wife and I have made a goal, and I'm going to say this right now, and I've never said this publicly, that we want to purchase 16 properties outright over our lifetime. And once we pass away, we want to donate these 16 properties to a couple of community organizations, one including my church, right? And now because I have this big why attached to my goals and daily life, I am very focused on achieving what I want to achieve. And you can see how passionate I am, guys. You know, I'm never going to retire in life because I'm super focused. That's number 1. Number 2 is to surround yourself with people who want to achieve the same goals as you, so you can keep each other accountable. So I'm very fortunate in the business world. I've got 2 guys that I really look up to, and usually I'll have a phone call every week or a catch up every fortnight just to ensure that my goals and what I'm doing is still the same. And I've also noticed on the third and final thing, the indicator that I've got that I'm not on the right track is I develop anxiety. So when I'm fully focused, I have no anxiety in my life because I know where I'm going and I know what I want. But as soon as that drifting kind of like kicks in, I notice I get very, very anxious. And when that happens, I need to click a button and get back on track on being focused as well. So being super focused has a lot of benefits, guys. And what I'm learning in life, my friends, is people who are successful are super focused at one goal at a time. So before we close off in today's session or podcast, whatever you want to call it, if you're saying, hey, Johann, you know, how do you run multiple things while you're saying that you've got to be super focused? I think that's a really good question, right? So before you can do other things, and I always tell this to people, and it frustrates me when I don't take this advice on, you've got to get one thing at a time right correctly. So with my logistics business, I've been in it for 10 years. I've got systems, processes, and resources in place in order for me to venture out to other things. And before I started my coaching business, I had to ensure that I was bringing in enough revenue, not over 1 month, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months period, but over a 2-year period where I built up a consistent amount of portfolio within my business that I said, yes, now that I've got this down pat, I can seek out and scale to a new venture, which was coaching. While I've got my coaching business, I will only take 4 clients per month to ensure I can provide the best service and value to those clients. And also, while I'm working with those clients, I'm also developing systems and processes in place. And I've made it that my obligation is I will not look at anything new in terms of business or opportunities, because that is my focus, if that makes any sense. And I've also created an identity in the marketplace. A lot of people in the logistics field know me as the go-to guy when it comes to logistics. In the coaching space, where I provide career coaching, mindset, high performance training, people are now starting to find out who I am because I've been super focused on what I'm doing. And I've had a lot of people say, Johann, you have been doing this for a year. Shouldn't you be more successful? I don't listen to those guys because I know I've got a 30-year plan, right? And I'm also working on my investment portfolio, and we're trying to grow our wealth for our big 16 property goal, right? And even with that, every time I accumulate more wealth or more properties, I have to put more energy, more systems, and more processes in place. And until things get done at almost a 95% capacity where I say, you know what, guys, I've made it, I'm not going to look at anything else. And that's the mindset you need to have. So if you're studying at the moment, if you're at school maybe or university, whatever the case may be, just be super focused on that goal. And then once you complete that goal, then you can look at new opportunities. If you have a business, before you start looking and expanding, ensure you have the resources, systems, and processes in place. Before you start looking externally at other ventures or other opportunities, look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, do people know what you do? Do you actually know what your core values are and what you do? And do you believe you have the habits in place to be successful? And that's the truth, guys. And if you can answer that honestly, then give yourself permission to venture out and try new things. But rule number one, guys, is before you get distracted, just keep center, keep focused on your goals. Have a vision board, have something that you could look at, that you can touch and feel, that where you're going to go in life and you'll never be distracted. I exactly know where I'm going. On the notepad on my phone, I've got exactly my plan of attack. And guys, this year has been very, very, very kind and successful to me, but I've also had a lot of challenges along the way, but I will not be distracted. So guys, I'm going to clock off, but thank you again for being part of this growing community. I wish you nothing but the best. And guys, let's grow together. And again, welcome to the Blueprint. Take care.